What's up, guys? Welcome to the next live stream on my channel, guys. So guys, last week we talked about EQ and how to clean up your tracks in your mix. So I talked about literally what an EQ is and how to actually use it for new beginners and how to actually take your tracks, get out those bad frequencies that we don't want. So today is all about another EQ topic, and today we're going to be talking about EQ also, but it's not how to clean up your mix. It's actually how to actually take your EQ and actually use it to actually get more separation and more wideness in your mix. So last week we used GarageBand, and we're going to continue to use GarageBand. So, but next live stream I do for you guys is not going to be in GarageBand. It will be back in Logic because that's my main DAW. But we have our EQ open here, and now right here I actually have a chat box up on the screen for you guys. So throughout this entire live stream I will be answering your guys' questions, so leave them in the chat, guys, and I will be answering your guys' questions about anything you guys want to talk about, EQ, mixing. If there's anything, leave them in the chat and we'll talk. Also, at the end of the live stream, if any of you log on, have any questions, I will be answering your guys' questions. I will stay on as long as you guys want me to. Okay? So let's get started. So I'm just going to minimize this, guys, and then throughout the live stream, I'll keep checking on it to see what kind of questions you guys have. Okay? Okay, guys, so pretty much we're going to talk about EQ, like I said today. Let's make this bigger. And pretty much, like I said, it's all about separation today. It's all about getting those instruments to sit where they need to sit in your mix. Because, guys, EQ is all about placing your frequencies in the right place so that every single instrument has its own place to sit. Like I said last live stream, every instrument needs air to breathe, because literally that's how you're hearing every instrument in your mix. And if you don't give it air to breathe, what's going to happen is it's all going to sound cluttered. Remember last live stream I talked about pretend that zero line, which is right here in the center going across the entire frequency spectrum. Pretend that is your ceiling, and that once you cut frequencies out, they're not coming back through. So that's what I talked about last live stream. If you haven't seen that live stream, it's still on my channel. Go check it out. You'll learn a lot from there. But today, it's all about getting wideness and separation. And this is where EQ carving comes in. If you guys haven't heard of EQ carving, I've done a couple videos on it on my channel. Go check it out. It's literally a great tip to know. So pretty much with EQ carving, what you're doing is you are literally carving holes into your frequencies for other instruments and other frequencies to sit into. So it's literally you're creating pockets, and once you create that pocket, you're literally taking another instrument and allowing it to sit inside that pocket so it can come through the mix more. So you're literally giving your mix air to breathe so that you hear the guitars, you hear the drums, you hear every single instrument that you've recorded, you hear it. So let me do a demonstration for you guys. I haven't recorded any tracks, so there's no sound that we're going to play in this live stream, but I'm going to demonstrate a test for you guys here. So 500 hertz, which is right here where this band of EQ is, 500 hertz sounds terrible on drums. So let's say I'm just going to cut out 500 hertz right here on this drum, right? So literally we cut out 500 hertz. It sounds bad. It always sounds bad on drums, so I always cut it. Now remember, once you cut that frequency out below the zero line, it's not coming back up like we talked about last live stream. It can't go back through the zero line because we cut it out, and once it's out below that zero line, literally that zero line is acting as a blockage. So that frequency is gone. So we cut that out, right? Next thing we're going to do is, let's say there is a good frequency around the high end, which is from 1K to 20K. So let's boost a frequency here, right? Now we're just going to smooth that down. Okay, so right now we have one band that is cut, one frequency, and then we have another band of a frequency that's boosted. All right, so one cut, one boosted. So keep that in your mind, okay? Remember that, because you're gonna have to. So we cut 500 hertz. Then over on this frequency, we cut about 1140 hertz, 11,000. Sorry about that. So those are our two frequencies, one cut, one boost. Now, what we're going to do next is go up to our next track here. So as you can see, we have another EQ opened here. Now, on our first track, we cut 500 hertz. Now what we're going to do is go up to our next track, and we're going to take that same frequency here, and since we cut 500 hertz on the first track, what we're going to do now is we're going to boost 500 hertz. You see what I'm going here? What I'm literally doing is I'm taking the same frequencies that I did in the first track, but I'm flipping them. So let's go back to the first one here. And what we did here is we literally 1120. So what we're going to do now is come here, and we're going to we're going to cut this frequency. So pretty much what I did here is I literally flipped the frequencies, guys. There we go. And we're just going to bring that back down to 3 dB. Okay, guys, so pretty much what I did here is, let's go over this again. We cut 500 hertz, and then we boosted a frequency over here. So we did a cut and a boost. Then what we did up here is we took the same frequencies, but we flipped them. So now we're boosting 500 hertz, and we're cutting the other frequency. So by doing this, you're literally creating pockets for other instruments to sit, because you're allowing the other instruments to create air, to create space, to create separation for the other instruments to sit. Now this is just a demonstration for you guys. I don't have any sound, so I'm not sure if this would sound good. But the thing is, what you want to do is do this on frequencies that sound bad and sound good. So this is a great tip for you guys to know, EQ carving. It's just one of those tips that's really going to help you out, guys. So make sure you have a notepad. Also, guys, let's check our chat right here. Let's see if you guys wrote anything. All right, not yet. Remember to write your guys' questions in the chat, because I will be talking to you guys, okay? So pretty much EQ carving. Try it out. Make sure you're writing these down as I'm doing this live stream for you guys, okay? And also, if you guys aren't subscribed to my channel, Golden Productions, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Make it turn gray and give this live stream a big thumbs up, guys. It really helps me out a lot. Guys, we just reached 440 subscribers today, guys. Thank you so much. You guys are killing it. You guys are awesome. Keep up the great work, guys. You guys are amazing. You guys mean so much to me, and thank you so much for all the support. Keep it up, guys. You guys are amazing. All right, any questions you have, guys, remember, leave them in the chat. I'm always here, okay? I will be talking to you guys. I'll stay as long as you guys want. Okay, let's get back to EQ carving, okay? So pretty much the EQ carving, literally use it in your mix. And remember, I've done plenty of videos on EQ throughout my entire channel. You guys can go check out my channel and subscribe, and also watch those videos on EQ. And guys, if there's any videos that you guys want me to make on EQ or anything mix and recording, leave them in the comments. Let me know right now in the chat, whatever way you guys want. Okay? So pretty much you guys can do this EQ carve-in throughout your entire frequency spectrum. Because remember, a human ear can hear from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. I went over all of this in the last live stream last Wednesday. So guys, if you haven't seen that live stream, it's still on my channel. Go check it out. I teach everything that an EQ does, and I teach everything what an EQ is. And like I said last time in the last live stream, that EQ is basically just a smarter volume fader. That's literally what it is, because pretty much what you're doing is whenever you're boosting a frequency, you're literally adding volume to your mix. Or when you're cutting a frequency, you're also taking out volume. So guys, that's what a EQ pretty much is a smarter volume fader. So guys, literally, I hope these tips are helping you guys. Let me know in the comments, in the chat, how these tips are helping and how I can make them better to help you guys. Because guys, listen, I'm always here for you for anything you guys need on EQ, any kind of tips you guys need. Let me know in the chat. I just popped up the chat window now. So guys, leave the comments and also let me know what you guys think, okay? Also, I want to give all you guys a huge shout out because guys, you guys have been killing it on my channel. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for watching all the videos. I got tons more content to come. I got a video coming out next week. Also have a video coming out this Friday, a looper video. So make sure you guys check that out too. This Friday will be a looper video and it will be about the Boss RC30 loop station. I'll be doing some looping on there. So make sure you check out that video this Friday. So make sure you're subscribed, have post notifications on so you know when it comes out. Let's check our chat box one more time. All right. So remember, leave them in the chat, okay? So what I want to do now is just go over some of the stuff we did last week, just to review it, okay? So let's see, we're going to get rid of these so we can just focus on this EQ graph. So we're just going to review what we did last week so you guys can, so I can refresh you on what you need to know when you're new to EQ, new to mixing, new to recording, okay? So pretty much a human ear can hear from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. That is the frequency range a human ear can hear. So down here where I'm pointing my mouse is 20 hertz, and then it goes to 50, 100, 200, 500, all the way up to 20,000. So that is your human ear frequencies. That is the frequency you can hear, okay? Now, below 20 hertz, that is a frequency a human ear cannot hear. Anything below 20 hertz, a human ear cannot hear. And the reason why a human ear can't hear it is because it's such low rumble. There is no sound down there. It's just all muddiness and rumbly. And that is why we pretty much use high-pass filters like we talked about in the last live stream. A high-pass filter is when you take this filter here and you cut it up. So pretty much where you see all of this red is pretty much where you're cutting out all of those low frequencies so you don't hear that much bass and you can get your low end under control. So that is why we could just get rid of all this. It sounds rumbly, it sounds muddy, it sounds bad, there's too much bass. It's literally we're controlling the low end so that we don't get that much bass so it doesn't sound rumbly, okay? So high pass filters, great thing to use in your mix. If you're not using high pass filters in your mix, make sure you start using them. Get to know your high pass filter. It's going to save you so much time. All right, before we go on to talk about what we talked about last week, one thing I want to make clear. is if you don't have a good recording in your mix, you're not going to have a good mix. If you don't record well, let's say you don't have a good tone, you don't have a good sound when you're recording, you're not going to have a good mix. I'm sorry, but that is just the way it works. And the reason why it works like that is because literally, when you have a bad recording, when you're recording, let's say your sound doesn't line up, things aren't tight enough, like the guitars don't line up, the sound waves don't line up, it's going to be harder for you to mix. And the reason why is because you're literally going to be hearing things that aren't there. So literally when you're recording, make sure you're recording a good track and do it over and over again until you get it right. Because literally I was there, guys. Trust me, I was there. Literally, I used to do a one pass recording and then I'd be like, okay, I could just fix this and mix it. Then I learned, no, this is not going to work. Make sure you do it a couple times until you get it right. But hey, let's say you guys are a really good guitar player or a really good musician and you only need one take and it sounds amazing. Then that would be great, guys. If you are a person that's able to do that, that is fantastic. Do it. But if you're another person who needs a couple takes, I recommend doing a couple takes until you get it perfect. Because once you record a great take and you get it right, then it's going to be much easier to mix, which means you're going to be able to hear the frequencies a lot better. Okay, the next thing, never EQ in solo, right? Now, I don't know if any of you know that, but never EQ in solo. Now, let me tell you why. The reason why you never want to EQ in solo is because literally, pretty much, what's going to happen is you're going to be placing frequencies over another instrument because you can't hear the other instruments. So let's say you have two guitars, right? But you mute one, right? You go into your DAW and you just mute a track, right? So you mute that track, the other guitar is still coming through, right? And you're mixing it. You don't know if you're literally taking the EQ that you're mixing and overlapping frequencies that you're muting the track. You don't know if you're overlapping frequencies of other frequencies that need to come through. So that's why you never want to EQ in solo, because literally you could literally be trapping frequencies in your mix that need to come through. And then you won't know until you mix that other track. So never EQ in solo, okay? All right, so let's move on to the other stuff we talked about. Let's go to the zero line, like we talked about last live stream. But first, let's check our chat here. Oh, we got a few people on. Oh, thank you so much for coming on, guys. All right, any questions you guys have, literally write them in the chat box. I will be happy to answer your guys' questions. Thank you for coming on. All right, I will be going back to this chat, so make sure you come on, all right? Thank you so much. Okay, so let's talk about the zero line, okay? So your zero line is acting as a blockage. Now, your zero line is right across the whole entire frequency spectrum here. And like I said, it goes from 20 hertz all the way down here to 20,000 hertz. That is a human ear can hear. So pretty much like I said in the last live stream, your zero line is acting as a blockage. So when you cut a frequency below your zero line, it's not coming back up above the zero line because literally it's acting as a blockage. You cut it out of the mix, doesn't sound good, and that's what it's acting as a blockage. But when you find a good frequency and you boost it above the zero line, it's coming right through. Now, one tip for you guys is that you literally want to actually take your frequencies and you want to always cut out the bad frequencies first before you actually boost the good ones. And make sure you're writing these tips down, guys, as I'm talking to you guys. Make sure you're writing them down on the paper, because these are literally tips that you guys are going to need to know throughout your EQ, all right, as you're mixing. Let's just go back to the chat for a minute here. All right, any questions, guys? Let me know in the chat. I will be talking to you guys, okay? And I will stay on as long as you guys want to, all right? So, pretty much, your zero line is acting as a blockage. It's acting so that when you cut a frequency, it goes through. When you cut one, it literally cannot come back through, because that zero line is your blockage. Now remember, like I said in the last live stream, an EQ is basically just another zero line volume fader. It's just a smarter volume fader. So you're literally, when you're boosting EQ, you're literally you're boosting volume. But when you're cutting, you're letting go, you're getting volume out, okay? So pretty much what you want to do is, any questions, guys? All right, not yet. All right, I just want to thank you guys so much for being on and watching the live stream. You guys are awesome. All right, can you guys tell me your name, who this is? All right, I'll go back to the chat, and you guys can also ask any questions you guys want, okay? So what we're going to talk about now is the dB. Now, the dB stands for decibels. dB is what you're actually going to be, how much volume you boost. So the dB, I usually work in 3 to 6 dB, and I try to stay in that range. That's the range I literally like to stay in, because it's just the right amount of volume that you guys want to, use. It's not too much you're boosting, and it's not too much that you're cutting. Okay? So I like to work in 3 to 6 dB, because it's just the right amount of volume. You're not going to be clipping, you're not going to be cutting too much so that you get rid of the sound. You just want to control it, okay? So guys, I think I went over everything that we talked about in the last live stream. Let's check our chat here. Oh, okay. So you're asking, what is the best way to mix drums with guitar? Okay, so what do you want to do? Do you want to make your guitars come through the mix? Do you want to actually make your drums come through? Because guitars are usually that thing you want to push back a little bit more, and you want your drums to come through. So what is the best way? What do you are hoping for? Let me know. Do you want your drums to come through, or do you want your guitars? Let me know in the comments, in the chat here. So I'm just going to go back to the teaching of the EQ, and I'll let you take your time on this, and I'll come back to the chat in a minute, okay? Just let me know, and I'll let you know the best way. Okay, so as we're waiting for that comment to come through, what we're going to talk about now is we're going to talk about what the different bands are here, okay? So the different bands, we'll start with a high-pass filter here. Your high-pass filter here is pretty much what's going to actually control your low end. Now, next to, this is your high shelf. Your high shelf is great for like your kick drum maybe, or your bass guitar, if you want more bass to come through in your mix, because from 20 to 100 hertz, that is your low end. Let's just check our chat real quick. Oh, here we go. All right, I want drums to come through the mix. Okay, so pretty much what you want to do is, as I think I've done this before, is you want 500 hertz on drums sounds really bad. So you want to cut that frequency, right? So a great app to use, I actually use this app all the time. I don't know if you've heard of MixBuddy, and it's for a great so what you want to do is actually, for your kick drum, what you want to do for your kick drum is actually go from 20 hertz to 20 to 100 hertz. That's where your kick drum is going to sit, okay? So pretty much 20 hertz to 100 hertz, you want your kick drum to be in that range. So I would recommend using a bell curve for your kick drum and actually searching around 20 hertz to 100 hertz and actually searching around there for the fatness of the kick drum. Now, the snare drum, if you want me to go through every drum, I can. Let me know in the chat. Now, for your snare drum, around 200 hertz is where you can actually boost around there, because that's actually going to give you the fatness of the snare drum. So that's actually a good place to start, because that's where you would be able to get a nice fat snare. Or do you want like a nice like snap to it? Because if you want a nice snap to the snare, you could look around 2K. That's going to be a good place. But so for a fatter snare, search around the 200 hertz, but around 2K, that's where you're going to get the snap. Now, for your toms are going to be around around the mid-range, which is around 200 to 1K. That's where you can boost for a lot of like tom ring, so those can pop through. And then around, let's say the hi-hat is a good shelf. Let me know in the chat if these tips are helping you, because I want to try to help you out the best I can. So in the high end is where you want your cymbals and your hi-hat to be, because that's where the high frequencies are going to be. So what I want you to do is think about your drums. Think about listening to a drum kit. A drum kit is pretty much your kick drum and like your toms. Those are going to be in the low end and the mid-range because they're lower drums, right? But then what you want to do is listen to the cymbals. The cymbals are going to be in the high end. So the key to EQ is to actually listen to your instruments and actually, as you're listening to them, be like, oh, okay, this sounds low, this sounds high, you know? So then you'll know where each frequency is actually gonna be. All right, I'm glad these helped you. Any tips you have, let me know in the chat. I'm here to help, okay? Also, one more tip for you, okay? These guitars are a mid-range instrument. So make sure you search around the mid-range, because that's where the guitars are going to sound nice and fat, okay? They're a mid-range instrument, so that's where you're going to want to boost your guitars, okay? Do you want to actually make your guitars fatter or like push them back in the mix more? Let me know in the chat. Thank you so much for coming on, by the way. Are you subscribed to the channel? Let me know. Thank you so much for coming on. All right, so that's guitar tips for you. Stick to the mid-range, because that's where you're going to actually get your guitars to get fat, because the guitars are a mid-range instrument, and also the drums. Make sure you stick to listening to your drums, because with the kick drum, it's low. With snare drum, it can be from the high end to the low end to the mid-range, dependent on how you want your snare drum to sound. And then like the cymbals, those are going to be in the high end. So just listen to each instrument that you play, and then that's what's really going to help you out, is by listening to the sound and learning the frequency spectrum. That's the best way, because it goes from lows to mid to highs. All right? Any more questions that you have, leave them in the chat. I'm here to help. Ask any questions you guys want. Thank you so much for coming on. I'll stay as long as you want. Okay? And if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe, because I do a lot of these tips. Thank you so much for being subscribed. That means a lot. All right, so like I said, the mid-range is a great way to get your guitars to be fatter, because literally that's where guitars are mainly sit. But to clean them up, to get what you want to do is make sure you're using a high-pass filter, because you want to get rid of that low end. And then what you want to do, it will be easier to actually get the guitars to come through the mix. But make sure you're getting rid of the bad frequencies first, because once you get rid of the bad frequencies first, it will be literally much easier for the good frequencies to come through. Okay? So you'll be able to hear them better. It'll be clearer to you to come through the mix. So, all right? So those are great tips for you to know. Stick to the mid-range, and then if you want more clarity on your guitars, what you can do is go over to the high end to actually get that clarity. Maybe use a high shelf, or if you hear too much fuzz, like if you're using too much like distortion on the guitars, you could literally use a low pass filter in the high end to just clean up that high end just a tiny bit, just to get rid of a little bit of that like distortion, so you don't have too much coming through. Any more questions you have, let me know in the chat. This is great stuff. Thank you. You're welcome, man. Anytime. Remember, leave the comments on the videos, and just thank you so much for the subscribe. I post videos every Friday, and every Wednesday I go live streaming on at like 2 or 3 o'clock. And then on Thursdays, I'm also doing sessions live. So if you want to head over there and watch me perform music too. So thank you so much for all the support, man. It means a lot. Any tips, I'm always here for my subscribers. So always answering their questions. Is your name Ryan too? Awesome. My name's Ryan also. Thank you so much for everything, man. Your support means a lot. All right, anything else you want to know, let me know. I'll stay on as long as you want me to. All right? Let me know in the chat. All right, so did I tell you about that 500 hertz on drums is really, really bad? What you want to do is search around 500 to 600 to actually cut those frequencies in that range, because drums on that range just sound really bad. They sound really, really honky. Now, I don't usually work in GarageBand. I always work in Logic, but this is what I'm using today. So, but next live stream, next Wednesday, we'll be back in Logic. All right. So that's what's great. So let me know in the chat, man, any other... Okay, so nice to meet you. I'll check out the other streams too. Thanks so much, man. Yeah, check out the other streams. I mean, I did another EQ last week with the other talking about EQ too. So yeah, let me know. I also have a video coming out this Friday. I'm doing a looper video. So make sure you check that out, man. Thank you so much for support, like I said. You subscribers mean so much to me. You're awesome. So if there's any questions you want to know about any other instruments or anything, what do you play, man? Let me know. I know you probably play guitar and drums too. All right, so we talked about the EQ. We also talked about all of the other stuff too. So EQ, like I said, is literally just a smarter volume fader that you're literally controlling the frequencies, but you're also controlling the volume. Now, this kind of goes off the EQ topic, but another tip that I like to do in with actually reverb is one reverb tip that I like to do once it's time is actually using reverb to actually get your guitars wider. Now, Ryan, you're on the chat right now, so this tip would actually help for you when you get to the reverb stage and like the effect stage. So pretty much what you want to do with reverb is take 2 aux tracks, set up 2 aux tracks, like auxiliary tracks or like effects, and set them up, 2 of them. Then what you want to do is actually put one reverb on one aux track, and then what you want to do is take another reverb and put it on the other. And then what you want to do is take your 2 guitars, send one guitar to one aux track and send the other guitar to the other one. And then once you send them, take your 2 aux tracks and pan them out wide. Now, by doing that, the reverb is going to help to actually get your guitars out a lot wider. So what you want to do is do EQ carving first, do all the EQ stuff you need, do the compression, and then what you can do is move on to reverb. So that's a tip that has really helped me in the past. I do it a lot, actually. So try it out, Ryan. Try it out for yourselves. It's a great tip to use once you get to the reverb and delay stage. It's a great tip. Any other tips? I have a bunch of them that I do. If you want to know any of them, I will be doing these throughout the stream. So any more questions, let me know. All right. So that was the EQ today that we talked about. It's nice to meet you, Ryan. Thank you so much for logging on and leaving the comments. I mean, it means so much to me. Thank you so much. You're amazing. All right, I'm just going to minimize this, and I will be pulling this back up, Ryan, so don't, And huge shout out to you, Ryan, also. And if there's anybody else watching, go check out Ryan's channel. He does some he really supports me, and I'm sure he'll. So yeah, go check out his. Are you a YouTuber also, man? All right. So if there's any more questions you have, let me know. But if there's not, I mean, I don't have any other EQ stuff to talk about. But if there's any more questions, I will stay on for you, Ryan. But if there's anything else, or if anyone else is out there that has any more questions, let me know right now in the chat, and I'll stay on. All right? So pretty much that's EQ. And go check out my last live stream, guys, because I do a lot of stuff. And make sure you subscribe to Golden Productions. Anyone out there watching still, let me know. Thank you guys so much for all the support. And guys, if you guys just want me to stay on still, let me know in the chat. Or if you guys don't have any more questions, I am going to end the live stream. But remember, next week at Wednesday, and it will be 2. Also, guys, follow me on my social medias at Golden Productions on Twitter and Instagram, because that is actually the best way for you guys to actually get in contact with me. Also, I send a tweet out every single day to let you guys know what videos are coming out, when I'm doing my live streams. So go ahead and follow me on Twitter and Instagram, because that's a great way for you guys to know what is coming out on my channel. All right? So if you guys don't have any more questions, let me know. Or once I log off, guys, you guys can also leave the comments in the video down below, and I will write back to you because I will get them. So thank you guys so much for logging on. Thank you, Ryan, for the questions. You're amazing. And anybody else out there, you guys are incredible. You're amazing followers, and you guys mean so much to me. And remember, I'm always here for you. Any questions you guys want to know, let me know. All right? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next live stream. And make sure you guys check out the video on Friday. All right? See you guys then. Thank you so much for watching.